What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Supplement Copywriting channel. And in today's video, we're going to be going over how to optimize an ecom advertorial for higher sales and conversions in 5 simple steps. This is going to be part 2. If you haven't already gone back and watched part 1, make sure that you do that at some point because it is going to set up a lot of the information that we're discussing today. But in today's video, we're going to be going over 3 big important parts for an advertorial. We're going to be looking at leads and the big mistakes that you want to avoid, different fixes. And then inside of this, I'm also going to give you proven lead angles. These are one of the most important elements because if you get the angle wrong, then everything else that comes afterwards is just going to kind of fall flat. You need to make sure that your lead is short, punchy, to the point, and really attention grabbing. And these proven structures and angles for leads are ones that will allow you to do that in a pretty efficient manner. Number 2, we're going to be looking at the flow and readability of your advertorial. Now, advertorials are meant to be short, 750 to 1,500 words, but the thing is they still need to have a really tight sales argument. The flow of them needs to go together well, and I feel like a lot of the times people kind of screw this up. They feel difficult to read, it jumps around a bit. So we're going to be looking at different ways to improve the readability and flow of your advertorials so people don't get tripped up when they're reading through it. And you can just create a significantly stronger sales argument if your advertorial flows together really smoothly. Point number 3, and the most important point that you're going to want to stick around for, is I'm going to be giving you new advertorial types and structures to use. So everything from the hero or from the headline down to the last CT, I'm going to be giving you a structure of what needs to go in it, why it goes in it, and everything along those lines. And I'm going to be giving you 4 different structures you can take and use in your advertorial. So make sure that you stick around until the very last point because that is where probably the most interesting part of it is if you want to test brand new advertorial structures. So let's go ahead and hop into everything. Now, last week, we went over using heat maps so that you're making all your decisions for your advertorial based on data instead of gut feelings. Gut feelings don't mean shit. We're in marketing. It is a data-driven industry. We also looked at why headlines matter and different styles of headlines that you can take. I gave a lot of examples in that. And then we also discussed the importance of hero images and examples of different hero images that you can use. But today, we're going to be hopping into leads, transitions, and new types of advertorials to test. So let's go ahead and dive into testing new leads. Now, your lead is the most crucial part of your body copy because if you don't hook the reader immediately, they're going to bounce. The lead is really our way to set up the rest of the narrative for the advertorial. But above all else, the lead needs to grab their attention and make them want to keep reading. Because if you can't get them to do that, it doesn't matter how powerful of an advertorial you've written. If the lead doesn't grab them by the throat and drive an itch that they need to scratch by reading the rest of the advertorial, it doesn't matter because they're not going to read it because you can't get them past the lead. So here are the most common mistakes that kill advertorial leads that I see on a regular basis. Mistake number 1 is just weak, really generic openings. People start with boring or vague statements like, in today's world, many people struggle with weight loss. It's boring. That immediately loses the reader. They've heard that. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. We all know that we have a lot of people struggling with weight loss. You're stating something that they already know. Instead, drop them into the action with a personal story, a curiosity-driven fact, or a shocking statement to grab their attention right from the jump. So an example of this is, my doctor said if I don't lose 50 pounds or get surgery, I'd never be pain-free again. Now, if you have an offer that has to do with some kind of pain, like knee pain, shoulder pain, anything along those lines, you could substitute pain-free for I'd never walk without pain in my knees or something like that. But that's a hell of a lot more interesting to anybody who struggles with weight or struggles with pain because they've probably been told that before. If they're overweight, they've definitely been told that their pain will improve if they lose weight, or they've probably had surgery recommended and not wanted to go do it. So that is a lot more relatable and interesting to them. Mistake number 2 is taking too long to get to the hook and the big idea. A lot of the times in people's leads, they try to use too much setup, they try to be clever, they tell unnecessary backstories, or they just have plain throat clearing, which is shit that doesn't contribute to the conversion or the overall story that we're telling in the advertorial. And the more that you can cut that, the better it's going to be. So an example of throat clearing is, let me tell you a story. Well, instead, just drop them right into the story. Don't worry about shit like that. Advertorials are meant to be short and punchy. Drop them right into the interesting elements of the advertorial. And that's something you're going to hear me mention a lot of today, is just getting to the point a lot quicker. That's a problem with a lot of people's advertorials, is they end up really unnecessarily long. They include a lot of shit that doesn't actually help their sales argument at all, and that is working in direct opposition to their goal, which is getting higher conversions, more sales, and getting more people to read their advertorial. So when you use this kind of language that is just a setup or unnecessary or some shit they don't care about with throat clearing, it just makes readers lose interest before the real hook actually appears. So the fix is to just get to the emotional backstory, the shocking fact, or the curiosity-driven moment as soon as possible. So an example would be, this is for one that I wrote. Joe Rogan's podcast is known for stirring up controversy and debates, but for the first time ever, all of his guests agree on one thing. And obviously, the headline for this was very enticing, and we spoke about what it is that we're discussing, and then I mentioned it below this. I'm not going to include the whole lead, but that's going to grab people's attention. Rogan is a controversial person. He does have a lot of debates and arguments on his podcast. Well, what do they all agree on? And this is a really short lead that I think was probably 120 words tops, if not less, actually. So make sure that you get to the point. Make sure you include the most interesting parts and drag it up the lead. Mistake number 3, making it sound like a sales pitch too soon. Now, if the lead feels like an ad right away, readers are going to bounce. Instead, make it feel like it's an interesting article. Start with a relatable problem, a shocking insight, or a story, and make it about the reader, not the product. Now, this isn't to say that there haven't been hyper successful advertorials that have actually pitched the product in the lead. There's been a few of them, but more often than not, what you're going to find is that they build the tension before the product reveal. It is a very basic direct response principle. You build the desire, you give them all the information, and then you introduce the product as the solution. So more often than not, don't mention the product in the lead. Just make sure that you're building it like an interesting article. And I'm going to show you guys kind of how to do that in point number 3. Mistake number 4 is making the lead unnecessarily long. Now, there's nothing wrong with leads that are a bit longer, but make damn sure it's interesting and not a bunch of throat clearing. Get to the point of what you need to say, then transition them into the next section. Really, what you want to do with your lead is you want to be absolutely ruthless with the lead and try to make it between 150 to 300 words if possible. And then another thing is that before you look at the new types of leads that we're going to talk about below, I wanted to make sure to get this point really dialed in. Before testing a new lead, make damn sure you're not making these mistakes. Because if you just take the new lead angles that I give you below, and then do the exact same shit as what I spoke about above with those 4 mistakes, this angle of lead is also going to bomb. These angles that I'm going to give you guys only work if you're not doing these things. So that's the big element here, is make sure that you're avoiding those 4 mistakes. And then if you want a little bit of some new ideas and some new angles to try to play around with, then go to these. But make sure as shit you're not doing those 4 mistakes. So number 1 would be the rock bottom moment lead. So this is going to be best for a personal story or a third-party review style advertorial. This lead starts with a moment of extreme frustration or a pain that pulls the reader in emotionally. It makes them feel like you understand their lowest point, and then from there, you transition them out of that lowest point when they meet the person that is going to change their life and when they start to make the discovery. The next one is exposing the hidden truth. This is best for personal story or news article advertorials. This lead challenges a common belief or exposes a shocking industry secret. It makes the reader question their belief or confirms their belief that every other product is a scam. So if they have a common belief around a specific product or a specific industry, you want to make them question that. And if you know that it's a really highly skeptical market that believe that every product in that category is a scam, you can also confirm that by telling them, hey, listen, I tried 11 of these and spent $500. Here's the only one that works, kind of deal. So you can confirm their suspicions but then still bring them around to the exact same product by saying that you tested a bunch of these and this is the only one that worked. Number three is the news story slash hype lead. So obviously this is going to be best for news article advertorials or third-party review styles. This positions the product as breaking news, a viral trend, or disruptive innovation that is coming along and really shaking up the industry and making it better and different. And it works because people trust news style content more than direct sales pitches. So when you position it like it's this newsworthy discovery, it's going to naturally just capture a lot of people's attention. Number four is the education or belief shift lead. So this is going to be great for news article, personal story, or review style advertorials. This teaches the reader something new that's shocking, surprising, or exciting. And this leads them to rethink their beliefs around the problem and solution and frames up your ability to plug in your product as the solution. So really what you're doing is you're educating them, teaching them things that they didn't know. Obviously unique mechanism of the problem, unique mechanism of the solution. And really what you're trying to get them to do is you're trying to make a very emotional and logical argument for them to give up this previous belief and show how it's actually holding back the results, and how adopting this new belief that you want them to believe that naturally leads into the product is going to help them to get the results they want to end up getting. So that is the education and belief shift lead. And then we have our basic problem agitate solution. This really works for any type of advertorial. And essentially we're just calling out a problem. We're making it feel even worse by agitating it. And then we are giving them a unique solution. But we're obviously not giving them that unique solution in the lead itself. We are just hinting at it in the lead. So number four is going to be improving our readability and our flow. One of the big things is that advertorials should be skimmable. So we don't want big blocks of text. That's a big thing that I see with a lot of people, is that their advertorials could be great, but it looks like an eyesore because it's just these massive, massive blocks of text that like nobody really wants to read. You could take that same length advertorial and add in a bunch of subheads and visuals, and it's going to be way easier to read. And I guarantee if you looked at their heat maps, they would get a lot more people reading a significantly increased portion of their advertorial. Now, advertorials are usually going to be between 750 to 1,500 words. And even though they're shorter, you still need to make sure they're punchy and attention grabbing in every section and that it flows really well together. Now, advertorials aren't a sales page, they aren't a video sales letter, but they still need to have the same principles of the flow and readability needs to be really smooth. So here's some tips for improving the readability and flow of your advertorial. Use short sentences and paragraphs. Aim for like 1 to 3 sentences per paragraph. This is really helpful on mobile, so it doesn't end up being a huge block of text. You want to break up text with subheadings and visuals every like 3 to 5 paragraphs. Again, just breaks up the skimmability, makes it easier to read. The visuals are also going to capture people. Same thing with the subheads. If you get your subheads dialed in and make them shocking and attention grabbing, just breaking it up so it's not these huge chunks of text is also going to be really helpful. And the 1 to 3 sentences is really great because on mobile, it just makes it a lot easier. And then the same thing with this, just makes it really easy to read on desktop or mobile. So use bold, italics, underlines, and bullets to highlight key points and to give a bit of eye relief. So if your body copy all looks the same, it can be where the person their brain kind of goes into automatic mode of reading and not really absorbing or thinking about any of it. So if you use things like bold, italics, underlines, and bullets to highlight key points, it kind of breaks up that monotony of it all, and it will draw the person's attention naturally to it, so they're not in just kind of a robotic mode reading everything. It'll pull their attention to the main points that you really want to make sure to land with them. The next thing is make sure each section sets up the next section of the advertorial. Make sure the subheadline that starts a new section has a shocking sentence from the body copy. So kind of what I mean by these two sentences here is that, or these two bullets here, is that you want to tease the next section you're transitioning to at the end of this section. So if we are transitioning from one section and we're trying to get them into the unique mechanism of the problem, then that's where something like, at the end of this section, we say, and a doctor shared something so shocking that I couldn't believe it myself, dot, dot, dot. And then you would have like a quote from the doctor, because we're making a smooth transition there. We're going from they shared something that was so shocking, I couldn't believe my eyes. That's going to make the person want to read. And then right below that, we have a nice big attention grabbing subheading that has a shocking part about the UMP. So I'm hoping you guys kind of see what I'm talking about here. So sometimes what you can do is when you go through your body copy, you'll find parts of your body copy that are pretty enticing and attention grabbing. When you can, make those into subheadlines. Those are going to make great subheads. All you need to do is just make sure it's not too close to the last one, that you can get a visual for it and everything like that. Also use heat maps to see where readers drop off, then tweak the copy to keep the readers engaged. This next one, read your advertorial out loud to see where it gets clunky and where you kind of get tripped up and stumble over your words. And then trim any fat and like industry jargon or complicated language. That stuff has no place here. It should be simple, it should be really easy to read, and it should be something that people can get through without having to go back and read sentences a few different times. So you'll be able to do this really well if you do this. So make sure that you read every advertorial that you write out loud. I know that it's going to take a little bit of time and some people won't do it, but I can't tell you how beneficial this is to kind of find the choke points of your advertorial that people are going to struggle and stumble over and isn't going to make sense to them. So make sure that you're reading your advertorial out loud before you hit publish on it. And last but not least, we have testing new advertorial structures. So if you have a proven angle and a proven core desire that you know the audience wants, then it might be time to test an entirely new advertorial structure. And one of the best things is that a lot of the times you can just take the copy and modify it slightly and fit it into a new structure. So below are 4 proven advertorial structures with a section by section breakdown so you can test the new formats really effectively. So number 1, we're going to be going over the story-based advertorial. Our headline, we're going to want to always start with an emotional hook. I thought my chronic back pain would last forever until I tried this. Obviously, it's not perfect. I whipped it up for this, but just something along those lines. A lot of I, me, those kinds of headlines are going to do well. Then our lead is going to be usually a rock bottom moment or just the basic struggle. So we're going to describe the frustration, the pain, and the embarrassment in vivid detail. We're going to hit on the failed solutions that did not work for them, other products, going to the doctor, doing DIY at-home remedies and things like that. Then we're going to get into the unique mechanism of the problem. What is the real root of the problem they didn't know that was holding them back from achieving the results that they want? Then we're going to get into the discovery of the solution. We're going to introduce this product as the last hope or the unexpected find. Usually it's going to be a rogue doctor, a friend, or discovering something online. Then we're going to talk about why this works, which is really the unique mechanism. We're going to explain how the product is different from everything else. What is it that allows it to be able to get results when all these other solutions fail? From there, we're going to transition into the real results and their transformation. So we're going to show the outcome, the before and after, their personal experience, the proof that this works is really kind of their story. So, and one of the big mistakes that I see a lot of people make in this section right here is they show the person revolutionizing their life entirely overnight. And that's just very unrealistic and people don't believe it. So make sure that if you're especially writing to a skeptical market, that the person isn't getting results right away the very first time they do it, because that just feels fake and people aren't going to believe it. So a little bit there. Then we're going to get to the product benefits and features. We're just highlighting the features first, and then we're getting the benefits. We're going to objection handle and include some social proof. So we're going to really address the concerns like, does this really work? We're going to include testimonials and things like that. And then we're going to have a final call to action with urgency, just to reinforce scarcity, only X left in stock, give them a guarantee, and tell them that it is a risk-free offer. And then we're going to have our final sign off. Structure number 2 is going to be our news style advertorial. This is going to be like a very new and newsworthy style hook. So Harvard scientists reveal a new joint discovery for pain relief. Obviously not the best headline ever. I wrote it for this real quick, but you kind of get the point of what I'm getting at there. Our lead is going to be based around a shocking fact or an industry secret. We're going to lead with a study, a breakthrough, or a hidden truth. Then we're going to get into the problem exposed, why traditional solutions don't work, outdated science, hidden dangers, and we're also going to use that to really set up the unique mechanism of the problem where, these traditional solutions don't work, the outdated science, the hidden dangers, really come down to this one thing that is actually why nobody can get results in this area is really what this section is about. Then we're going to talk about the big discovery, this breakthrough that solves all those old problems. It works in XYZ to be able to solve the unique mechanism of the problem. Then we're going to introduce the product as the only or the best solution that has the unique mechanism of the solution to be able to get them results. We're going to hit on any kind of endorsements or scientific proof. We're going to, quote doctors, researchers, case studies, celebrities, really anybody we can lean on that is endorsing this or that you can find online that has potentially endorsed it. Go ahead and use them. And then you want to include user testimonials or like a case study to show how real people are benefiting from it. You're going to give them a how it works. So give them a simple how to use the product in 3 simple steps to be able to get the best results possible. We're going to have our products and product benefits and features. And then we're going to have a final CTA with some urgency. So then next, we're going to be looking at the listicle. So really, our headline for the listicle is just going to be uses numbers for curiosity, 7 reasons why this pillow will change the way you sleep. Then this is very optional. I like to have a little light intro and lead for the listicles that I write, but it isn't absolutely necessary. Your advertorial might convert better if you just hop right into it. I personally like to warm them up a little bit with a lead. So have like an engaging intro, a light setup about the problem and the pain and why this product solves them so well. And then you're going to list 5 to 9 benefits of the product. You're going to include a subheading and a visual for every single benefit. Make the benefits short and punchy. I usually will go about like 2 to 3 paragraphs that are 2 to 3 lines tops, so that way they're short, they're punchy, they're easy to read. You're going to have a call to action with urgency. This discount is only available while supplies last. Order now before it's gone. You're going to list any kind of discounts or bonuses or any kind of money back guarantee. And then you will have a FAQ section at the bottom there. That's also optional. You don't have to have an FAQ. A lot of listicles definitely don't have an FAQ, but it is something that you can use because listicles are so short and punchy and there really isn't very much information. Having an FAQ at the bottom is probably a good move. Number 4 is going to be our personal review. This is not a personal story. This is more of a casual, like first person look at a product, right? So like I said, the headline, casual first person hook that teases the curiosity. I tried this new collagen powder for 30 days and here's what happened. It just sounds kind of like the reviewing one singular product. So the lead is really just going to describe a problem that they were dealing with in relatable terms to mirror the pain points of the audience that we're speaking to. Then we're going to get into how they heard about the product, and it's this new viral popular product. They made the decision to try the product, so explain why they finally gave it a shot. Were they skeptical? Did they see reviews? Did they see that they had a guarantee? Like, you want this to mirror how somebody who's actually reading this would feel. So if your audience has skepticism around your product that and understand, like, make that here. Literally just talk about, I was skeptical about XYZ, but after seeing all the reviews, seeing that they had a guarantee, all these things, it really convinced me to go ahead and try it. So then we're going to have our unboxing or first impressions. So we're just going to talk about their experience of receiving and using the product. We're going to have the after transformation. So to describe the results over time, small improvements leading to a big change. It doesn't need to be so slow, but at the same time, like I mentioned for the other advertorial, if you just show people having a transformation literally overnight, everybody's going to smell bullshit. So you want to make it like a realistic transformation, but make the results good. Then you want to address the common doubts. So handle skepticism naturally by acknowledging concerns and sharing balanced feedback, and then having other people social proof here. And then you're going to have your final verdict and call to action. So wrap up with an honest recommendation and a strong CTA. Try it risk-free for 30 days. use this code to be able to get XYZ discount, everything along those lines. So that is our 4 structures that you guys can take and use if you would like. I hope this helps. And that is all I have for you guys this week with regards to the different ways to go ahead and optimize a advertorial for higher sales and conversions. So have a great rest of your week. Take care of yourselves and adios.